Is it a good morning? Is it a good afternoon? Is it a good evening? To wherever you are in the world, it's Tuesday. It is 6 p.m. in the UK, which means it's time for Evening Brews. All right, people, I hope you're good and well and had a fantastic Tuesday. Evening Brews is getting so popular, I'm starting to double book people. And there's not two better people I could wish to double book. We'll go from left to right, sir. First of all, after a long absence from the channel, Mr. Kern is back in the building. How are you, brother?
I'm all right, mate. Thank you. How are you?
I'm all good, brother. All the better for spending some time with you. And to the right, Amir, part of the channel, is back on the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing really well, and the sun is shining here in North London, so everything's hunky-dory at the moment.
What we like to hear. So let's just do the housekeeping and say hello to everyone that's in the chat, and then we'll get going. So, Psycho Fox, good morning, evening. I don't even know where I'm speaking to right now. Big up to yourself. Jazz Fusion, big up to yourself. Adam McFarlane, big up to yourself. Jimmy Hotspur, we've got Anthony Clark in the house. Andrew Gregory, channel member. The biggest plonker is in there. Lord Rodney Trotter has come to join us. I love this guy. Fran, good evening to you, channel member. Colin Crossamano is in the house. Matt Kushner is in the house. Another channel member, Tweaky, is in the building. Big up to you. Mike Zappa, our very own The Roadman, is here. Channel member Liam, channel member Shawnee Slater. Peter, good morning to you in Melbourne. Who else is here? Alex is here as well. Right, boys, we're going to start with youth product. We're going to start with Project Youth. Things are happening. Oh, and I've just seen another member creep in. MZ is in the building and is Dragon D's nuts. We've only got going in over 50 of you in here already, which is fantastic. First slide we're going to discuss. Going, Santiago. We have reached an agreement with Spanish side or second division Elche for the permanent transfer of Yago Santiago. Wishing you all the best. And Kern, I am going to start with you and people in the chat. What was your immediate thoughts when you saw that out of nowhere, Spurs have done it with an outgoing in the shadows again, and a youth product has gone?
In all honesty, I don't care. My thought behind it is that if bear in mind, what is he, 21, 22? So he's going to be coming out of the under-21 squad now and would have to come pretty much into the first team squad.
Yep.
Now, we all know prior to Paratici coming in that he turned around and said this was the worst run academy from academy all the way up with how it was all sorted. He came in, reformed it, brought in new people, and I fully back the decision. If the academy team are sitting there and they are saying that he ain't going to make it past the under-21s, because clearly there's been some sort of conversation between the under-21s, and I'm going to have a stab in the dark and turn around and say Ange as well.
Yeah.
And he has turned around and said he ain't good enough. Then he ain't good enough. You know, if he was good enough, we would have kept him. Yes, okay, we have made mistakes in the past, but I fully back the decisions that have been made.
There we go. Amir, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I pretty much echo what Kern's saying there. I saw Santiago play a little bit last season, and you know he's a nippy little winger, and he's got some skills. But is he ready for the big time? Obviously not. So you know, I think this will probably be a good move for him at the end of the day. And we can't really have players just lingering about doing nothing. So this is the right thing to show. You know, part ways. Wish him all the best out in Spain. You know, hopefully he makes it. But yeah, I think we've got a lot of sorting out to do with regards to the squad, and we've got a lot of other youth players, which I'm sure we'll get into and discuss what needs to happen with them, because I think there's a lot of questions with regards to who's going to actually be in that final squad for this season. And we all know we've got so many games coming up with the Europa League and everything, and hopefully we'll go deep in the domestic. Gonna have, there's gonna be a lot of time there for players, really. Yeah, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, I'm intent to agree with you. If you look at it, the crop of youngsters we've got right now, and we're all talking about the Divines, the Donnellys, the Moores, the Bergvalls, the Greys, the Dorringtons, the Phillips, the Vuskovic when he comes. If I went to any Spurs fan and say, right, give me 12 Spurs youth players, I don't think Santiago's name, if he does, it's right at the bottom. I actually thought me and Dave did a keep loan sell of the youngsters after the QPR game, and we forgot to say sell to any one of them. We're like, loan, get them out, loan. But like people are saying in the comments, and you two have said, I can't see how he gets in. What I did want him for, and what I actually was one of the ones that thought maybe he stays to help the other youngsters that are coming in, to help them. But isn't it amazing that another deal going out has gone? Listen, Højbjerg went under the radar. Santiago, it's a lot easier to get done, obviously, because of the level he's at. I don't know if I just hope, and again, there's no news of it, that there's one of those buyback clauses or a sell-on fee. We haven't done it with Brian Hill. Brian Hill, there's no obligation or no option.
I thought there was an option for 15. No,
that's 15 is the release fee.
Oh, the release fee.
No obligation to buy or no option to buy for Girona. Kern, are you thinking that there might be, or should there be?
I'm more thinking that basically what we've then done, if there's no obligation to buy, we have basically decided actually we're going to extend probably one of our worst signings and give him the option of an extended clause for another year to then keep him for that extra year to not be part of a squad, to not play, and basically waste of money just to loan him out. Because if he ends up being over there now and doesn't perform over there, Seville turned around and said they didn't want to buy him after he was on loan there. So, he came from there. So what? Are we just going to sit there now and hope for the best? And then what? In next year comes, then what happens? We end up trying to put him out on loan again.
Okay, what do you think about the Santiago one? Do you hope there's do you either hope, and the chat, do you hope there's either a release, if you had to choose one, release fee or buyback, or just not fussed with that deal?
I'm not fussed. We've proven it before. We never even had a buyback clause on Edwards, did we, when we sold him to Sporting? I know, so he left on a free, didn't he, to Sporting?
He did. I know, he went to another club before Sporting. He went to Holland.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He went to Vitesse Arnhem or one of the two.
I'm not bothered. I'm really not bothered, because when it's all said and done, if that was the chance, if he had the chance, which he has, to impress people further up the chain, and he hasn't done it, going to a second-tier Spanish team isn't really going to change any outcome for the very first 3-4 years he's out there. Not being funny, he could go there, and how many players have we seen over the years? They go to another country, they absolutely tear it up.
Yep.
Not even players that are related to Spurs. You sit there and you watch them in another league and you think they're great. Then a Premier League team sign them. They're useless. They don't do anything.
Yep, you got a point. And Amir, before we move on to the next one, because the next youngster we're going to talk about a bit, because I don't even know where we are with this one. But Amir, Santiago, would you want, I don't care if there's no clause, a buyback or a sell-on?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you had a little, sell-on, you might get, if he does explode in, like Kern saying, 3-4 years time, you might get a bit of money for him in the future, but it's not critical for what we're trying to do in the transfer window. Do you know what I mean? This is just a little side note in our transfer window. We really should be looking at nailing some players, cementing players that will go straight into that first team, and that's what we haven't done yet this window, unfortunately. But hopefully we will push the boat out and do that, because I think that's what this squad's kind of missing, And we were speaking off camera a bit about some of those players, but it's getting to a point where it's getting a bit frustrating, because we're almost halfway through preseason now, and that player still isn't through the door. So it is.
So I will say to everyone, there's 121 of you in here now. People are joining. Thank you for joining. What I will say, if you want your questions answered, we have 3 simple ways for me to be able to see them, so I can star them for the end. Either put a Q and a dash in your question so I can star it, put @TOT and a dash so I can star it, or if you want us to drop what we're talking about and talk about what you want to, you are able to put in a super chat, but there is absolutely no obligation whatsoever. But that one is very clear for me to see. But now, and I'm going to start with you this time, Amir. We're going to go to something, but I actually thought this was going to be a slow news day. I thought it was going to be a slow, okay, how do we fill it out? But then a bit of news broke that I want to say, and just, Melvin, I've seen your thing. We all do questions at the end. So at the end of the show, we'll go through the questions. But news dropped today, which is, I want to say the word stunned. I am to say stunned, but not in a, oh my God, the world is ending stunned. This is from The Athletic. Tottenham will review loan options that will arise for Will Lankshear, with interest already registered from Championship, League One and European sides. Now, Amir, before I get your thoughts, I will be coming to you first. What I do not understand with this, and maybe you can elaborate or put your views point, I think he's gone ahead of Scarlett. I think he's gone ahead of Elise. I think he's, out of the young strikers we have, he's at the top of it. I would have been very, very, very happy for him to stay with another striker coming in, if Richarlison, whatever. I would be very happy for him to stay. But now it looks like, and I can kind of understand for his development, playing first-team football and getting regular first-team football, but then we're definitely need to buy a big striker. This one is really, really weird to me. What are you thinking, Amir?
Well, look, I think it comes down to whether he'll get enough game time to justify keeping him around this season. For me, he's one that I would tend to keep on the books. I think he's a predatory striker. He's similar to like a Teddy Sheringham. He's a fox in the box. He's going to get those goals around the 6-yard box. He's physical. He's strong. He looks like a real talent. He obviously smashed it in the Premier League 2 last season. So I'd keep him around. But is there a question there that if he goes out on loan to, let's say, a top Championship side, or even, like a decent, maybe Europa League or Conference League side in Europe, and gets an experience for a year, that could be phenomenal. Week in, week out, playing a whole season, 40 games a season, it could be a good thing for him. Does it justify keeping him around for sub appearances in the Europa League this season with us? I don't know. Can they guarantee him minutes in the Prem? I don't know. So it's a tricky one. It's a really tricky one with Lankshear. And I think, look, at the end of the day, you look at Kane's development. He did go out on all those loans, and they really did help his development at the end of the day. And then he was ready to come into the squad. So maybe, just maybe, this isn't such a bad idea.
So I have to say to you this, and I'm happy I'm coming to you this because we can all laugh together. So obviously the way I was looking at it with him as well is obviously we're in 4 cup competitions, or 4 competitions including Europa. So would he get game time and game management? I hope so. We were talking in the back end just before we went out, and obviously I said Sky Sports News did their transfer show, and there's serious talks growing that Lukaku is up for a swap deal with Napoli for Osimhen. And I've tweeted saying, surely, if that kind of caliber of striker's about, we have to be all over him. Well, Dave's just asked me to look in our transfer chat, and Ryan's just mentioned it. The Footy Insider, who I must say is about as reliable as a wet paper bag, have just tweeted that Spurs are keeping tabs on Napoli striker Victor Osimhen. Now, I don't know where the keeping tabs is on the register interest, monitor, appreciate. I don't know where that is on the 12 steps of Spurs. But where are you with Lancashire? And do you think Spurs stand a chance of getting Osimhen?
Well, we'll start with the second one first. It's a quick answer. No. That puts that one to bed. Lankshear, I'm 50-50 on. Because I think that you can already see standing in the away end at QPR in the friendly, you could see he has that Kane physique about him. The way he finishes the ball, you can see that he's a mini Harry Kane in the making already. The problem is, and as Amir already said it, we put Kane out on loan multiple times before he even got a chance. But at the same time, with us not having a striker, with us needing a striker, and with us being in 4 competitions next year, I personally think that you keep Lankshear and you use him for your FA Cup games, your League Cup games, your Europa League games. Because reality is yes, I'm not saying we're not going to draw in we're not going to draw in some of the big teams in the Europa League. But you draw in the smaller sides and you play him in them games. Bear in mind, there's 8 games now, and they're all different teams. So if you put in, just say for example, you put in 4 or 5 of the so-called lower ranked teams, all of a sudden that lower ranked team level is the same level as your Championship, your League One teams. So yes, okay, it's only 6 games, but you play him in them games around your Premier League players. All of a sudden, you're sitting there and you've got a player who is developing at the highest level, but also is developing under the manager that he's going to end up playing under and learns his philosophies.
This is what I mean. I've just put in the chat. I want to see where people are with this about would you keep him? Would you loan him? Now, everyone's saying the Osimhen thing is BS. I think you're talking about Spurs being interested in him. And I can categorically state, without a doubt, since I've taken this backstep approach of not jumping on every single tweet that comes out, I would have done, if I was responding to that one, I would have done the Boise laughing in Only Fools and Horses, because I do not think there is a single chance. But like Colin said, 300 grand a week wages, he would be worth it.
There's no way.
But I'm saying we were talking about Chiesa, and we're going to come on to the here we don't go shortly. But he wanted apparently 300. Osimhen, I would pay 300 grand a week to, because that's a striker, that's a predator. Chiesa, no. But let's see what people are saying about the keep or loan first. Colin is keep, Ryan loan. We need a striker. I think June is saying keep. Don't know if I've seen that name before. So welcome to the channel. Hope you're enjoying the content. There's loads to come. Peter is saying keep him. We've got Scott M saying on top, loan to sell. Okay. Mark Hook, loan if we buy a striker, keep if we don't. Loan to a Southampton or something similar. Mate, don't say, because now I've just got in my head. That, and I'm going to say something now. I'm going to regret saying it. Now you said Southampton, I've just thought Bournemouth. And with Bournemouth, there's a Solanke. And with a Solanke, there's a 65 million price tag. And with a player going out on loan for the season, I hate the way my brain works sometimes. Please, people don't. That's just me speculating what this club does. This is the guy Right, we haven't spoken. Actually, both of you, just quick. Who is, if Spurs could get a striker, realistically, right, Kern, who is your choice? See, that's you and me always, brother.
Number one.
What, the Swede?
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I'd go get Tony. To be honest with you, I think he's an ice cold finisher, and yeah, I think that he would bring lethal power to that front line, and I think he'd suit the Ange system as well. And speaking of suiting the Ange system, just to get back onto Lankshear, if we do keep Lankshear, right, and you can play him like Kern was saying, you play him in the cup games, you play him in Europa League. I think he could actually score quite a lot of goals in this hand system because those balls coming in from the left, from the right, the Werners, the Johnsons, he's a predatory finisher. He could get quite a lot of goals if we do keep him about. So it would be very, very interesting to see if Lankshear is kept around this season.
We'll see. Right, Kern, I need you to do me a favour. You're seeing Isaacs on Friday, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Give him a slap because I can't reach him. Give him a huge slap for the blasphemy.
Yeah, but Brian, I can't slap him because you know my outlook on it.
Yeah, but for you.
For you, I'll do it, but it will be solely because of you.
Listen,
like, I'm quite happy with that deal.
What I will say with this, Paul, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this. Let's just say, from what I've heard, we may have a serious problem with some of the young talent wanting assurances on game time. I'm not going to go into it anymore. I'm not going to say who, why, when, what, where. Just, he's not the only one. That's all I'm going to say there. We could have an issue very, very shortly when it comes to this young talent that could offer so much. Just keep I'm praying that Spurs can do so. But we're going to go on to the next slide. And I don't know how many times this has happened before, but this is going to be interesting. Tomorrow, it's been confirmed that the player we have bought, and I'm going to try and say these names, and if there is any people from South Korea, I do apologise if I'm about to butcher some names. So, K-League coach Park Tae-ha announced that Yang Min-hyuk, God, thank God I don't drink anymore because I could have really smashed the pieces out of that, will start against Tottenham Hotspur. Let me go back on the pre-season friendly. Now, to me, this has got he scores against us and gets injured all in one game. But do you know what? I am excited to see him. Obviously, I've got to say, I don't think when he's on the ball, Spurs players are going to go fully in on him at all. There won't be any flying tackles or lunges from him. But have you ever heard it where, I don't know, guys in the chat, I don't know if this has happened before. Have you seen it before where a player that now is an official player for one team but is out on loan has played against them? I'm sure actually in FA Cup teams, if they're not cup tied, it's happened. But it's very, very rare that you hear this. Kyle, we'll go to you this time. You excited to see him?
It'll be interesting.
Very true.
Yeah. That is actually very true. I am interested to see how he plays, but at the same time, it's a friendly. Am I going to take everything that happens with a pinch of salt? Yes. You know, players aren't going to be fully up to scratch. So you're sitting there and you're going, yes, it's good to see what you can do and see if you can actually fit into a system. I know it's a completely different system, but to see whether or not he can fit into our system.
Yeah. By
watching him, because it's the first time that any of us are actually going to have watched him. And to see what he can bring. My concern is the fact that one of our players is going to injure him and we're going to be told he's now injured for 8 to 12 months. So therefore, come January, we're going to be having a player that turns up injured because one of our own players have injured him.
Yeah, we're going to have to see. I mean, Amir, you excited to see him?
Yeah, of course. Look, he's a youngster who's obviously, bundles of talent. And the fact that we get to see a little glimpse of him, it'll be exciting. But I think obviously, it's going to take a while before we see him at Spurs playing in Lily White. But it'd be nice to just get a little glimpse of Hyuk. And it'd be very interesting to see his development, and if Sonny will kind of take him under his wing and kind of, keep an eye on him, keep an eye on his development.
I think so. It's a bit like Bergvall and Kulusevski right now. He'll come in. Listen, it took. I put a tweet out when we signed him saying, okay, we've got an advantage with that region of the world. Let's take advantage of it. We all saw that goal he scored after signing or after the interest, that right foot. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. That was a bullet of a shot. I think when he comes, he doesn't go into the first team immediately. He doesn't even go. He'll be around the youth team and doing bits. But I have to say, and again, these are all reviews from that side of the world that were coming out. But this guy in South Korea is being touted as a huge talent. A huge talent. Now, obviously, Spurs fans aren't going to see it at close quarters, apart from tomorrow, until maybe the end season, till the end of next season or this season, or possibly even further down the line. But I can't remember seeing this happen. Amir, can you remember anyone that has played for Kern's back? So let's bring him back in. Can you remember anyone playing against their team? Now, I'm not making a big thing about this. It's just a bit of general knowledge and a bit. This isn't. I'm going, oh my God, how are Spurs allowing this? It's just a general question. Could anyone remember any team that has signed a player and then sees them playing against their team?
It must have happened, being players loaned out.
I think it has done. I think recently, actually, there was a guy who didn't get cup ties, and he played against. I know who it was. Who's the guy that played for Newcastle that did the somersaults, and he went Loire.
Oh, Loire.
He went on loan to Portsmouth, and he played against Newcastle and scored. That's who it is. But now,
what a player he was!
Oh, mate, he was sensational.
Did they find him playing on Hackney Marshes? Ain't that the story about?
I think there is something like that. That it was a story that he was from playing street kind of football and on the Hackney Marshes, somewhere around that. But let's get into the next story. Then we've got two more stories to do, and they're both quite big. But the next one we're talking about is obviously the yesterday it wasn't on, but it was on. Then it was on, but it wasn't on. Then it was the representatives of England, and it's happening. Then it was like, we're not interested. Yes, we are. And today, from Fabrizio himself, no contacts taking place between Tottenham and Juventus for Federico Chiesa. Spurs will sign. I've got to stop doing that. Spurs will sign one more player up front, but no talks or negotiations are taking place with Chiesa. Now, I've got to say, where it says one more player, people have got to read it the way I read it is it's not one more player. We're only signing one more. We've gone from wanting to rejuvenate that front line to now only signing one up front. And for me, it's got to be a big one. Kern, how are you feeling about? First of all, these ITKs are doing my head in this summer.
Oh, mate, honestly, it's basically just put whatever you want and hope for the best.
Exactly.
We could literally do this. We could do what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's scandalous, isn't it?
Pick a player, and we're signing him. Yeah. Because we said so.
This is exactly it. I've got, like I said, Ryan, Kern, you'll know from very, very close quarters how close you and me are, what you and me have done when it comes to and the group we're with, what I went through last summer, and other people. I'm not just saying, oh, look at me and the innocence. I brought a lot of it on myself. But the tweets and the nonsense and the ITKs and jumping on my God, it was relentless. And my God, it was. But this summer, when you take a step back and go, Joe, what, I'm not buying this. This is now. I'm not just saying this about Fabrizio. A lot of these people, they do this because they get paid. Interaction, clicks, likes, talk, whatever. But this has got out of hand this summer. I've just stepped into the madness that is transfer ITKs. Amir, how are you feeling with Chiesa here? We don't go.
Do you know what? I tend not to pay too much attention to these type of stories, Dagul. I'll be honest with you. All the Chiesa, Osimhen's of the world, all these kind of, outlandish claims. So I don't even really pay too much attention to them, to be honest with you. When it comes down to Chiesa, I think he's a fantastic player when he's on top form and he's not injured. But we all know over the last 3-4 seasons, he's spent a lot of time out.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a risky one, really, if you go for someone like Chiesa, because you just don't know what player you're going to get. Are you going to get, a phenomenal player who's going to lead the play and, find that far post with his beautiful curling shots, or are you going to get someone who's going to sit 5-6 months of the season on the bench? You just don't know.
Well, the thing is, what's looking, Daniela, we have discussed it, darling, but thank you for bringing it up. Someone told me, someone in one of the shows last week, I can't remember who it was, but I think they're in the chat right now. Like,
oh,
we lost Dagul.
Looks like Dagul's gone walkabouting over there in Canada. But I'm sure we'll be able to get him back on. But Kern, with regards to somebody like Jamie Donnelly, who we've seen quite a bit of, obviously played a bit out of position as well in pre-season. Do you think he's someone that could be considered for the squad?
Yeah, no, I as we said before we came on, for me, Donnelly is showing all the right attitude. He's showing that he's going in the right direction. Are we in a position that we said before that actually he's not quite ready yet? Is it that we do need him to be given game time around the first team? Or is it that he needs to carry on doing like we've done before and put him out on loan? The problem is how many times do we have to sit there and keep putting players out on loan and waiting and waiting? The problem is we're now in a position where we've all said it. There are probably 4, maybe 5 players needed. But out of them 4 or 5 players, we need to bring in 2, maybe 3 out of the 5 that are first team ready and Premier League proven. That seems to be the issue that we sit around waiting for a lot nowadays, is that we always seem to not go for the Prem proven. And I'm not saying that Prem proven is going to get you what you need. That's the thing. Go on, mate.
I first of all have to apologise. Whilst I'm being nice and calm and not going nuts about Levy right now, I'm waiting for the time to happen. I am going to start a protest about Canadian Wi-Fi. So he's saying, and outside of Rogers HQ, and Scott M will be able to vouch for this, the monopoly a couple of people have out here is ridiculous. So at the moment, I am Rogers out, and I do apologise. Where were we when that happened?
We decided to go and start talking about Donnelly.
Yeah, we went.
There you go. Well, it's good you spoke about him. Now I've got to carry on speaking whilst I get the bloody slides up to speak about the final subject, because the final subject is from none other than our skipper, our captain, the one and only Heung-min's son, who's been speaking in Korea. But whilst I'm getting it up, carry on your chat about Donnelly, and I apologise for the outage just then, people.
That's fine. So for me, I think we can see that there's a player there in Donnelly. Will he get into the squad at the moment? I don't know, because for me as well, if we're looking at 2 youngsters that definitely walk into that first team squad, whether they're a starter or whether or not they come off the bench, is definitely Bergville and 100% Gray. From what I've seen so far, I'm more than happy to have both of them being on the bench week in, week out. And as I said earlier, I'd more than happily see more. Mikey Moore.
Yeah. Joe, let me ask you a very quick question before we go Sonny then. Before we start talking Heung-min's son, let's just say if, and I'm not saying this is happening or anything, this is not, I'm just, if we saw over the next year and a half, 2 years, Divine, Donnelly and Mikey Moore leave this football club, where do we go as a club for ones that are meant to be harvesting this youth and bringing them through, investing in this youth to bring them through, actually to have them and then see, and I will say, out of the academy, Divine, Donnelly and Mikey Moore are my three personal favourites, and Divine is a million miles ahead of everyone. But we'll go to you first. If this club somehow let those three talents go, leave this football club, what do you reckon that says about Tottenham Hotspur Football Club?
That we have completely lost our ability to have any faith in the youth. And if you end up selling, especially the likes of Moore, for me, I personally will be sitting there thinking, what's the point of having the youth? You'll happily go out and buy your Greys, buy your Burvilles. But then when you have a star talent at 16 years old sitting in your youth, if you're not going to give him the chance and you do end up hypothetically selling him, then you might as well give up. I was quite fortunate to actually be sitting and actually spent quite a long time with Mikey Moore's uncle at QPR. And his uncle turned around and said he had one dream from when he was a youngster to now. And that is to play first team for Tottenham. Yep. So I think it will take a lot. From what I was getting from his uncle, I think it would take a lot to lose more.
I agree with Moore. Obviously, until he turns 17 and can sign that contract, listen, there's been talk, there's been rumours. I personally don't think he goes. I certainly don't want him to go. Divine goes, I'll go nuts. I will do, but that's just my personal feelings towards that player. Like Sean will for Donnelly. Amir, how do you feel? Or should some of these youth, and we won't even use names, should some of these youth that we've seen tear up the Premier League 2 last season, should they make their exits because they want first team football? How's that? What do you reckon?
Look, I think this is probably one of the most difficult things to manage, really, in terms of what we're doing as a club. I think if we do them the disservice of just letting them all go out to other clubs and then develop and push on, I think that'd be a huge mistake. We've got tons of talent in that youth department. You were mentioning the Bergvalls, the Greys, the Donleys, the Moores, Tyrese Hall, Abbott. You've got so much talent there. Your Dorringtons, Vuskovic coming through. So you've got a lot of talent there. The question is how do you develop that talent in the most beneficial way? And for some of those players, alone will be the right move. And for some of them, it will be keeping them around and giving them minutes in the first team and getting them on the subs and playing them in the cup competitions. So I think for each player, it's going to be by individual case in terms of what's best. But if we are looking at players like the likes of Donnelly, I'd keep him around. I think as well, the fact that you're seeing him play left back is Ange thinking, I can keep Donnelly around because he's a utility player. He can plug in. He can play 10. He can play in the middle of the park. He can play out on the wing. He can play left back. He can play anywhere along that line. He has those physical attributes and the ball retention that we want in the system. And as for Moore, I think at the end of the day, you've got generational talent. The kid's already scoring goals at the age of 16 for Tottenham Hotspur in pre-season. Yep. So and making other chances. Like Anne said, he could have scored 3. So I think, you've got to have a pathway through for those players. There has to be. And I think that this season, to be fair, it's the perfect season to do it with, our very, very busy fixture schedule that we're going to have.
It's what I was saying about last season when I said I want Europa over Champions League. Forget the money, forget that. This is the chance to play them. But I have to say, before we go on to the Sonny thing, there's a very close friend of mine that's in this chat. Every time I see it here, especially this guy here, Dan Gaze, does so much for young children that aren't having the greatest start in life, or what's going on. With what's going on back home and around the world right now, the kids need to be looked after, kids need to be protected, and this man tries to do an awful goddamn lot. So please, I'd even say more than liking and subscribing to us right now, go over and just give this guy a like and a subscribe, because he is trying to do so much work. He's got a lovely family. He does so much. So if anyone can, please go and like. That is his YouTube channel as well. Please go like and subscribe to it, or just watch a few of his videos about what he does. Right. Let's get on to Heung-min's son, shall we? Let's get on. He's been speaking, obviously, before tomorrow's game. And some comments have come out, and now my slides have gone. Thank God, there they are. I was about to go nuts. There it is. So, Heung-min's son on his best position on the pitch. If I were tasked with creating something decisive with one moment during a game, I would say that playing as a winger suits me more. Some people say I shouldn't play on the wing anymore because I'm too old. They say I am not great at beating my man. I understand why those talks exist, but doing those things as a winger is still what I am most confident at. It's also still one of the things I believe I am best at. When the opposition defence forms a low block and I have to create one decisive moment, it fits me to save my energy and deliver one lethal burst, but I can understand fans can have a different opinion.
He's gone again, isn't he?
Yep, he's gone again.
That Canadian Wi-Fi. Oh my days. Oh my days. Shocker.
Right, we'll jump in here. It's the car.
Hey!
I've come to save the day.
There we go. Right. British Telecom will save the day of the Canadian Wi-Fi.
Reliable. Good old reliable BT.
Good old reliable British Telecom. We're here. So, what does everyone think about these quotes from Sonny over the past thing? What do you guys think of these comments? Do you think Sonny's right? Do you think he's going too much? What do you think? Has he got something? Oh, we'll go with you, Kern. What do you think?
I think he's spot on. You know, how many times did we all sit there, whether you watched it at home, whether you were in the ground, no matter where you were, how many times did we all turn around and say, as soon as that team news came out and we saw Son leading the line, how many times did we all sit there and go, not again?
Yeah.
We all know his best position has been down the wing.
Yep.
He's been our winger for many years now.
Yeah.
There is no debate on it. He is a winger. He is not a striker.
Mm-hmm.
Stop trying to play a winger as a striker because it does not work. You know,
what's your thoughts on this as well, Amir? Kern's got a point, hasn't he? He's really got a point.
Of course he does, and I think anyone with a brain can see that Sonny's best position is out on that wing, and he loves to cut in. That classic Sonny cut in that he does and whip that ball in, whether it's for a cross for Richie or whether it's to bend it in that far corner. And the fact that he's just come out and said it clarifies it for anyone that that's still debating it. If a player's saying this is where I like to play, this is my best position, then it obviously is.
And we've all been saying it, guys. We've got to have a striker this transfer window. It's got to happen. The problem is, I do have this. The guys at Tottenham Hotspur have been very kind to Tottenham on tour. They were very happy to send us an update on the transfer window at Tottenham Hotspur, and they sent us the VT about it. Thank you so much to Tottenham Hotspur for sending that lovely video. You could say that's a transfer window, isn't it, Kern?
Pretty much. It's non-existent. Don't get me wrong. I'm extremely happy that we have got Gray. I watched a fair few Leeds games last year because apparently Leeds were on TV every Friday night. And he done extremely well. One of my closest mates is a Leeds fan. And when that transfer went through, Leeds fans were not happy that they had sold him. So it tells you something about a player. You know, am I going to sit here and turn around and say he's going to be an absolute world beater? No, because no one knows how he's going to perform. The 2 games that I've seen him live at Hearts and QPR, plus the highlights that I saw from that in when we decided that we were going to win our first trophy since the Audi Cup. You know, he looks good. Unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to determine how well he's going to be until the season starts. So, you know, we will see where he plays.
It's the problem, though, Kern, isn't it?
Who knows?
The idea of a transfer window is you bed players into your system.
Yeah.
And Archie Gray's not playing in any of the places he's ever played ever.
Exactly.
He's played right back. He's played centre midfield. He's played more forward as a centre midfield. Why the hell is Ange playing him at centre back? I know we lack centre backs at the moment. We've got Ashley Phillips there. Play Ashley Phillips. He's a centre back. He might not be possibly ready for Premier League first team football. You've got to play him in his position because
the fact that we've had to play Emerson Royal. Apparently, I can't talk now. Yeah. Emerson Royal.
That's what you say when he messes up. You're like, Emerson Roy, how?
Exactly.
How?
Exactly. But you know, the fact you decided to play him there, and then you've gone actually also going to play Gray there. Sure. Yes, I know we have 3 centre backs that are amazing, and I would actually really like to see all 3 of them play at once because I think them 3 at the back will be absolutely unreal to watch. But you take them 3 out, it goes to show the lack of depth that we have after them 3 centre backs. Where, don't get me wrong, Gray played well at centre back. It's not his position, but he played well. But you sit there and go, if we have a season like we did last year where players were getting injured rapidly, we have no 4th stroke 5th centre back choice now.
Yeah.
And there becomes a problem. That if you do have that freak season where you do end up getting centre backs injured and or with Romero sent off, you kind of sit there and you start thinking, well, where do we go? Because, okay, yes, we can sit there and go, Gray is a possibility that can play at centre back as your 4th choice. Are we going to be looking at turn around and saying, well, actually, looking at it in a realistic term, Phillips will probably go back out on loan again. So we're then down to, well, who do you put? Yes, I suppose you've got Ben Davies that can play at centre back as well.
Yeah.
But you kind of sit there and you're going, well, we are very limited at who can play as two centre backs together because we haven't got them.
It's the problem with having too many international centre backs, isn't it, Amir? Because they're going to be playing these international tournaments. Even if Romero didn't play at the Copa America, he still would have played in the Olympics because he's desperate to play for Argentina at every opportunity. So shouldn't we be buying more young centre backs to be understudies for these boys, giving them a chance? I know apparently Dorrington and Sayers are injured. I've not heard anything, but surely they're good enough at least to be able to step into that position of centre half and allow Archie Gray to be in his actual position, right?
Well, you'd think so. You'd think that you know, we've got enough talent in the youth department to, you know, have a 4th or 5th backup centre back there. We are struggling a little bit with injuries. And the question is, you know, what kind of player are you going to bring in that's going to sit behind a Romero, a Grusin, and a VDV? You know, that's going to be a very hard position to sell to somebody who wants to play all the time. But it's actually perfect for the likes of a Dorrington, who maybe, you know, will get a few minutes in the Europa League, get a few minutes in a cup game. So, you know, I think we should be looking at our youth in terms of maybe plugging that position there. And I'm hoping, I'm really hoping to see more of Dragusin because I think he had a really good Euros. I think he's a really quality player, big, strong, perfect for the Prem, like built for the Prem.
Yeah.
So I hope we do see a little bit more of him as well.
Because
next season.
Colin Cross-Amano hit the nail on the head. Those three, and I spoke with Dave as well after the stream. This, I'll say it perfectly honestly. This team looks like a Pochettino team, and it's one of the reasons why I don't think Ange will be there by the end of the year. If you played those three centre backs together, it would remind me of when we had Vertonghen at left centre back. You had Dyer in the middle, being the sweeper and pushing into midfield, and you had Alderweireld being that more combative centre half that's going to get into those tough tackles. Play three of them together. Get some more centre backs in. Play them together because that you've got the most balanced. And then do what I've been screaming for. Play round pegs in round holes. Udogie is a left wing back, the purest form. Attack people, full pace, muscle, athleticism, speed, whip balls in the box. Porro, the other side, quick, great crossing the ball in. No, it would suit those five, wouldn't it? It would suit those five, wouldn't it, Kern? You play that would be perfect.
I've said it, and if you don't want, and do you know what's even better? If, for example, Ndogi does get injured and people go, "Oh, hang on, you can't play five at the back anymore." It's not the best, and by means, it's nowhere near the best. But you could always turn around and say, "Actually, you know what? We can still play five at the back." Yes, okay, we all know that this is life. You can always put Ben Davis in the back and then move Mickey out to the left. Look how we all saw it. I said it before the Arsenal game last year, and I said we need to play UPC at left back because we can play there. And it's only when after that happens we are playing. If you've got a fully fit squad, you play and don't get down the left, Porro down the right, and you play Mickey, Romero, and Dragusin as a back three. Because I tell you what, them three at centre back together, I'll go out the wing here. I'll make it shot down. I think we concede hardly any goals with them three at the back.
Yep. Defend properly, have a good midfielder in front of them. That we would be able to have our two because the way we play with Basuma and Sarr, who are more mobile. Yep. You can play those two with a back five because then those two can go left to right and they can move. And if the ball does break, middle centre back comes out of the back three and clatters someone, stops the play.
Sean's point is perfect there.
Yeah,
Drags in this team would defend corners so much better.
Yep.
We lack height.
What do you think of this theory, Amir?
I actually think it would work, and I think that you could even tweak it a little bit if you want. You could push Romero up to that defensive midfielder because I think with the way he plays, he could be the best defensive midfielder in the world because that guy can.
Not for me. He's not. He's not technically good enough.
I think he's very technical, Ben, and I think he knows how to play balls forward. He's aggressive. I think he could move into that position easily and play better than Basuma in that role. Because Basuma showed us last season when he had 10 good games, and then when he got into his suspension and stuff and the dive in, he just lost his head and he didn't play well. I personally think that if you put Basuma there, you play VDV and you've got Dragusin there and you play someone like, your Bergvall, your SARS, I think you've got so much legs and I don't think you concede. I really don't. I can't see people getting through that defense. Udogie and Porro there as well and Big Vic behind the sticks. I think, that would be something that would be very, very, very interesting to see. And I think that Romero, in terms of breaking up the play, if you think of his aggressive nature, nobody's going to get near the ball in that midfield if he's in that.
He's not quick enough, though, Amir, is he? He's not quick enough on the ball. The reason I think that Romero is really good at a centre-back is because he's on the front foot. He comes out of his position and he intercepts people. Whereas if you're in the middle of the park, you have to be able to look 360 degrees round you. This is the reason why Steve Perryman really loved being as a centre-back later in his career, because you see more of the game. There's nothing behind you. There's more of you to see. You can see when those gaps are about to form and you can exploit those gaps, take that ball out and then move it into midfield slowly. I think Romero's not quick enough. I think Romero could do that role if we had to play it, But I think on a day-to-day basis, Romero's got to be our number one centre half. He's got to
So
be.
who would you play? Who would you play if Basuma's not on in that 6? Because we don't.
At this rate, we sold him. We've sold Højbjerg. I think
we haven't got
one because we haven't got a number 6 in this team. Bentancur's a number 8. He would be a number 6 if you played an Italian style system, which is you play 4-1-4-1, and you'd have your more combative midfielder, more like a Gattuso style figure in front of it, and then the number 6 is actually more of a Pirlo role of him pulling the strings from the back, passing the ball, metronoming. We haven't got a number 6. Basuma is in no way in hell a number 6. He's a number 8. He's box to box. He's athletic. He's quick. He's good on the ball. He's brilliant when you press him. He's not a number 6. He's not. Again, he is someone that loves to be pressed because he loves to be able to duck in and out, move about. When you're a number 6, you're more just turning past the ball. You're seeing more of the picture in front of you. And Basuma is much more athletic, so he loves to take players on. So I don't think the problem. We don't have one. And as Dan says, we play 2 box-to-box midfielders. We don't have a number 6.
To be fair, I kind of agree with Martin. I know he's not, but I'd actually play Archie Grader.
I think he could play that role. He could play that role because
if Basuma's not on it, then you play Gray. You play the 5 at the back. You play Gray next to Sarr. Then you play 3 up top.
Yeah, he's got the technical ability to play
that. In 10.
Potentially, you play 1 then 2, or you start because for me, the latter part of last season, he doesn't automatically warrant a start for me. So, but then the problem is you need creativity there. Can Sarr perform at that level? Probably not. So you would probably have to play your 5. If you're playing 5 at the back, you'd probably have to play a 5.
I would say though, Kern, on the highest level we've played in the last 4 years, and that was AC Milan away in the Champions League, our 2 best players were Sarr and Skip. So Sarr can play at that level. He just needs the right person next to him.
Exactly.
And hopefully he can play that role. He has shown that he can play that role. And the only player that turned up that night. And I know because I was there, and it was a miserable night. I think you were probably there.
I was there as well. I think
it was a miserable night.
It was a miserable night, and the worst part is we're still sitting there an hour after kickoff, bored,
damn
with
right.
no trains.
I didn't get lunch until 12:30. So it was not lunch, dinner until 12:30. It wasn't fun.
It was fun.
But one more question before we wrap it up. What is your number 1 player? You've got all the money in the world. You're allowed to buy 1 player for this Tottenham team. What positions you buy in? We'll start with you, Kern, and then we'll go to Amir, and we'll wrap it up.
For me, it's probably Oshman.
Hopefully, you're having a great time in Korea, boys. I've seen the videos. Lovely to see you.
Big up, lads.
Lovely to see you, my boys. So, position, Kern. Which player are you buying?
I'm going Oshman.
Yeah.
He for me, I think he walks in, absolutely walks into this squad.
Yeah.
We need the striker as well. And I think that he easily gets you 20 plus goals a season.
Yeah. Amir, who do you buy?
For me, I go for Osimhen's teammate, Creature. I think in terms of what he brings to a team, just limitless talent, goal scoring, ability to pass players. We saw some of it at the Euros, and he's just pure quality. And I think he'll give a rocket up the arse to all the other wingers, to up their game. Johnson, Werner, Solomon, all these guys that are in and out of the team. I think he would just come in, cement that position. He comes into the first 11 straight away. I just don't think he's realistic because we won't pay 75 odd million.
For me, it's got to be a number 9. It's got to be someone in that number 9 because we create all of our chances in the first 20 minutes and we don't score any of them. If we had a proper number 9, unlike a Richarlison that doesn't score enough goals in a Premier League season, go bang, 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 3-0 up, game's done, You can have as much needless possession as you want. That's what you need. You need a clinical number 9. And that's it. And it goes to that point. Kern, where can we find you next, mate?
Probably back on here. If not, I think there's a potential that I will be doing a few lives on my TikTok, which is under my name. Otherwise, it'll be on here or any other show that will get contacting me.
Absolutely. Always welcome on here, Kern. Always welcome on here. Amir, when can we next find you, Aki?
Yeah, I'll be on here when I can make it, when I'm not busy driving around the country. And yeah, you can also see me over on We Are Tottenham TV doing a few watch-alongs this season as well. So please do stop on by. And let's hope the next time that we do speak that we might have some signings.
You know we're not signing anyone, boys. We're not signing anyone. Because at the end of the day, this is our transfer window update, and I'm going to play it again because it's bloody hilarious. Thank you all so much for watching today's show. We will be back here on Tottenham on Tour live at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning for the morning brews with the Brews brothers, myself and the Roadman. Thank you all so much for watching. Amir, catchphrase, sunshine.
What is our catchphrase, Ben?
What is your catchphrase? I don't know what your catchphrase is.
I don't have a catchphrase. It's just come on, you Spurs. That's it. That's all I need.
Kurt, catchphrase.
I'm going to nick Brian's because he's not here.
Yeah. All right.
Easy.
So then.
Out.
And thank you all so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. If you smell what the cough is brewing, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your evening.
Big up, everyone.
Ciao for now.
No.